Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this very special Siege of Ottawa update tonight on Friday night here in Ottawa. Thank you so much for joining me this evening on this live interactive show. Let me first introduce my guest for this evening. You can find, of course, my co-host, Janine, at Sending Ravens here on YouTube, and also at Decode by Janine. Janine, welcome back to the show.
Hi, guys. Crazy times.
Yes, indeed. Crazy times. We'll get into the craziness here in a moment. And you can also find my friend Joe here at JSnip42 on YouTube and also on his Patreon at patreon.com/JSnip4. Joe, how's it going, man?
Yeah, I wonder how I think I was at 18.9 or something subscribers. I haven't done. I'm locked out of YouTube right now from my strike. Where are these people coming from? I'll take them. Crazy. So yeah.
Yeah, crazy times. Thank you so much, Joe, for joining us here tonight. We are in dire need of. It's saying that I'm very choppy and I'm cutting out. I hope you guys hear me okay. Give me a 5x5. If not, I'm going to try to change to my.
Yeah, it's a little choppy, but it's not
too bad. Yeah, bad connection here in Ottawa. Of course, I'm streaming live here from downtown,
and you're sharing that bandwidth with all the people on the ground.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can see, but there's still a little drone flying by here every 2 minutes. And I'm kind of like, oh, it's like they're spying on my hotel room here. So anyways, Janine, before we start, can you please pull some cards for the audience here and maybe set the intention or let the audience know what universe wants us to know here moving forward for tonight and tomorrow, Saturday. There's some difficult news to go through here today. Very tragic news, in fact. We'll get to that in a moment here, but please share with the audience here what universe can, how universe can encourage us here moving forward.
Well, we've got the Wheel of Fortune, and that's the spinning wheel, but it's spinning away from this hardship. Okay, because that looks like we're going away from the hardship. Let's visualize that true. Okay, so we're going away from the hardship. It's been a very disappointing, obviously, and even horrifying day. Apparently the whole world's been watching, because I've gotten emails from all over the world today constantly and all watching what's going on in Canada. So interesting that the news is really getting out about what's going on. Now we've got this 6, so we're being stood with by the world. Like, even if some of our own people don't understand what's going on, the real sleepy ones, the world is waking up by watching what's happening in Canada. Crazy. Like how many people are, and how much we're being stood with by people, like from all over the world. And we've got this 2 of Wands here, so 2 of Wands. So there's safety here. Oh, that's an interesting thing.
Somebody typing in the background?
Jean-Claude, are you typing?
I'm not anything, no.
Yeah, it's a weird, like, clack, 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 clack sound.
Yeah, my connection's really bad. So, Janine, keep going. And we're done, Janine. Joe, listen to a singing bowl melody. I'll see if I can't log in to a different Wi-Fi here to reconnect. So keep going, Janine, okay?
Okay. This looks like we're moving to a safe place. We're moving to a place of safety. Well, we need to, because today didn't look very safe in Ottawa. That's for sure. Not for regular folks. And we've got the 7. And okay, so the big picture, and I always want to know the big picture, is we're moving towards a time when we're going to get our vision and desire. We're going to get our vision and desire. Seeds have been planted. We will get the peace and the world we want. That's the big picture. We're in the throes of the war. Like, we're literally in it. We're in the battle. Okay, but we're going to come out of it victorious, according to what I'm getting.
Interesting.
I think we need those singing bowls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll get started. I know JC's going to try to log back in from a different connection or something. So
yeah,
we're going to kind of clear the air and see if we can send some good vibration, so to speak.
Right on.
To all the people of not just in Ottawa and Canada, but I mean, this is a movement going across the world right now. And thanks to our Canadian friends, it started there and has inspired the trucker movement and the farmer movement and everything else all over the world. So this is great. This is for them and the people who've been hurt and injured today.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm back. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Better.
Much better now? Okay. Thank you so much, Joe, for that. I really appreciate that. So I have Julie running the script from the studio here. Julie, can you bring up that footage from the horses here in Ottawa? I was reporting on the horses here earlier today. I was wondering, in fact, who perhaps they were. They looked like Ottawa police or perhaps OPP on horses. Typically, we see the RCMP here, but this is the scene that has horrified so many around the world today. So there's two people there on the ground. As this footage is playing, you could hear a few people saying, "Stop, stop, stop. They're being trampled. They're being trampled." And these guys here in the gray uniforms with those big masks, we don't know who they work for or where they're from. I was reporting on that earlier today on another footage also. Just so you know, before we get back to this clip here, when I came into town this morning, I went through 3 or 4 checkpoints even before I got into the secure perimeter that has been outlined by the Emergencies Act. And at every point, I was asking the police officers to the best route here to this particular location. And they were all telling me, "I don't know, sir, I'm not from town." So these guys have been imported. At least a lot of them have been imported to Ottawa. Of course, we had rumors that maybe 30% of the police force here in Ottawa had resigned. And another part of them were calling sick with COVID, quote unquote, as to not have to come to work here. So they seem to have imported quite a few people, and perhaps this, what you're seeing on the screen here, could be the result here. So these are not local people, because the police officers here who've been doing the work for the last couple of weeks have felt the love from the Canadian contingent here in Ottawa, giving them hugs, giving them flowers. Like, it's been extremely peaceful, although that's not what we're being told in mainstream media. So these cops here don't have that experience dealing with these protesters. So Janine, first reaction to this clip here, what are you hearing? What have you seen on Twitter today? Let's bring the audience up to speed on what perhaps is happening here. I'm having reports now from some of my police friends also that perhaps one of the people being trampled there is in fact dead in hospital now. That's a big shame. And there's also a report of somebody else having a heart attack. So I'm not sure if that's the other person who's being trampled in that scene or if that's somebody else. So we're seeing that here on the screen. The non-confirmed reports of the heart attack and possible death, but I believe now it is confirmed. Is that right, Janine, for the death of one of the persons being trampled?
No, I wouldn't go as far as say confirmed. The last I saw, it was saying that it's unconfirmed, but that's the word on the street kind of thing.
Right.
So when I first saw that, my first reaction was, why on earth are they? So mainstream media, correct me if I'm wrong, but is also sharing all of these horrific pictures and or videos of what's going on. And they must be showing it all over the world, because I've gotten emails from all over the world horrified at what's going on in Canada. So why weren't they showing the beauty of the last 2 or 3 weeks? The bouncy castles, all of, like, yeah, it was definitely shared by ourselves and people in the truther movement and on Telegram and whatever, but not worldwide. A lot of people weren't seeing it unless they went to our Telegram channels or some kind of media like that. Okay, and all of a sudden it's been widely spread, all of this, the horrific stuff. And I'm just thinking to myself, that is weird and interesting.
Yeah.
That they're actually, because it seems to me kind of strange. I'd like to look into it at some point here this evening.
Okay, we can pull some cards on that, but you have to remember also that right now, this secured area that falls under the Emergencies Act goes from Bronson Street all the way to the west to here. Just in front of this location is the canal, the Rideau Canal. It goes to the river in the back over there and all the way up to the highway. Now, I'm currently just on the edge. I'm not actually in that zone that has been described by the act, although the police are all around this area and there's checkpoints even further down. So that's interesting. Now, in terms of the mainstream media, they have the exemption to be walking the streets here right now. Nobody else does. So if you don't work for the government or if you haven't received an official exemption from the government here, technically you can be arrested for just walking down the street in that secured area. At least that's what the text of the press release that was put out the other day. Now, some cops are letting people walk and they're saying, oh no, you can walk. But I've been advising people here today too, and so was Beaver Frey earlier. It's not because one cop tells you you can walk that you won't be arrested at the next corner. So that's it's very tricky here indeed. But going back to the mainstream media, if Julie can put up some of those slide shots, I was reporting that down here today too, the mainstream media have all the gates open to them to come downtown. The police are making way and they're giving them permission to film specific and strategic events here during the day. And so that was the case. You can see a lineup here of people who were ostensibly arrested and waiting to be processed here. Let me see if it's not that clip, Julie. It's a little bit later out. You'll see it's dark. It's probably the third clip, maybe the one after this one. That one there. So if you look at the middle of the screen there, guys, you'll see a white light right at the top middle of that screen. That is mainstream media there, and they were placed there by police so that they can film these people here waiting to be processed in this staged arrest, because we're now hearing reports also, and what's happening just behind me apparently is a big party where police and people are kind of having fun right now. So we're hearing these reports again of this catch and release type of situation. And so the last text I just got by some of my friends here are telling me that the cops apparently now have really, really reduced the temperature, seeing as perhaps in fact there is somebody who has died here being trampled by horses. So Janine, let's do some cards here and see what universe can kind of pull into why these mainstream media, these paid state-sponsored medias are letting in right now and are here in full force, whereas for the last 2 weeks, I couldn't see them when I was reporting. Why are they here today? And why are they given permission to film these strategic arrests here around Ottawa?
I get it needs to be shown what these players are up to and what they're capable of. So they're trying to show the pain. They're bringing the pain. And they're trying to show just what these guys are capable of. That's what that looks like. It's a very strange reading, I'll tell you that. I mean, it looks like it's orchestrated possibly by, and I hate to say it, but the White Hats.
So I want to, let me just chime in. I've been waiting to ask JC, but you know, you guys had something good going on there. And this, from the very beginning, I'm like, I got to ask him, you Canadians. So I'm heard that this Emergency Power Act that Trudeau has signed or whatever issued, it has to be approved by the Parliament. And they were going to come, I guess, today or yesterday, and we're going to go talk about it. And no, we canceled. We'll go do it Monday. So he's declared this illegally, it sounds, because they did not have their meeting.
Yep.
And they canceled. And when I heard that they canceled, this whole thought came to me. They canceled on purpose. Not because they're scared they're going to let him do this stupid move to bury himself. And he did it. That's what I was thinking the whole day. And I go, I got to ask JC if that's actually correct, that he can't really legally invoke this without the House or the Parliament or whatever.
So let me bring an update to that, and then we'll ask that to Janine and see if the cards can give us some insight on if, in fact, this is a white hat op. So yes, you're correct, Joe. On Monday night, next Monday, we're supposed to have a vote on this particular invocation of the Emergencies Act, and both the Parliament and the Senate have the option also under the Emergencies Act to basically introduce a bill to either revoke it or to amend it. So all of this is supposed to happen today in a live debate on Parliament Hill. And yes, in fact, it was canceled. So a lot of these police officers...
Well, did they give you a reason, by the way? Have they come up with an official reason why they canceled?
The rumors were because the tensions were so high on Parliament Hill, they were expecting some issues. I had reports from Parliament Hill from staff that they were told to, at a moment's notice, shut off the HVAC system. So they were expecting maybe tear gas and stuff like that. So for the security of the members of Parliament, the House sitting was canceled for today. At least that's what we are.
But I just want to tell everybody, think about the situation. Has that thing ever been declared, that act, to date? I don't know that it has.
Well, the previous one was in 1970 with Father Pierre-Éliott Trudeau during the Front de Libération du Québec, the FLQ. We don't need to get into the...
So, yeah, a long time ago. So this is a big... The point I guess I'm making is this is a huge deal. Yes. If you're in Parliament in any fashion, an MP or whatever, you would say, you know what, we better get down there and get the job done. I don't care if there's a little bit of danger. We've got to do this because this guy's about to be out of control. Yeah. And they didn't.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think he's been set up. He took the bait. That's my opinion.
Well, there's that, Joe. You're absolutely right. So first, there's a cancellation of this debate, and everybody's like, "What the hell's going on?" The other day, I was going ballistic too with the Conservative Party, who Dr. Peterson was so happy. He was telling the truckers, "Oh, okay, now you have a voice in government. You guys can go." This was just before the Emergencies Act was put in place. I'm like, no, it's too early to go home, and we haven't had victory yet. And of course, that morning, on the Wednesday morning, the Conservatives, their talking points was the 5.1 inflation rate. I'm like, we have bigger problems than the inflation rate right now. Democracy has just been suspended. And so it appeared that they were stalling this debate. And now, of course, with the cancellation of the debate, it leads us to believe that perhaps that is the strategy. So let's ask Janine, is this in fact the strategy, Janine, behind all of this? Is this a good guy op here to basically give Trudeau enough rope to hang himself? And if indeed he has blood on his hands here today, that might very well be the case, because I'm watching the news and I'm watching the screen go by here, and a lot of people are angered by what they're seeing. The people here all day were chanting, "The world is watching, the world is watching, freedom, freedom, freedom." And that didn't stop all day. So let's have the cards.
And don't get me wrong. What I'm not saying that the whole thing is a white hat op. No, I'm not necessarily saying that. I think they allow these bad actors to play out their stuff, and they might even instigate and or push them into it.
Makes sense.
Like what's been said here. Yeah. So I think I'm not saying that they're in charge of the guy that trampled somebody. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, but they might be putting the people there strategic to film everything, all the horrific things that are going on. These guys are going to go down in flames if this keeps up. So let's have a look.
Okay.
So it looks like there was a lot of strategy around. So both players, good and bad, are working. So we've got the good guys pulling moves, the bad guys pulling moves. So everybody's being strategic about. So we're literally in a battleground in Canada, and in particular, you guys in Ottawa. Are you both there, or just you, Jean-Claude?
Just me.
Okay. So yeah, this is a huge battle here. It's like what's going on in Australia, where they've got good and bad players still feels like there's still a battle going on there. Okay. So I'd say we got a mixture here. We've got the bad players making moves, the good players making moves, counter moves. This is does that answer the question?
Well, it could very well be. Now, we have to go back to what Cliff High was saying also, that February 19th was a big date. Julie, also from Maison Jupiter, was looking at 19th and the 20th here. They're big astrological alignments. But Cliff was telling me here that the 19th was everything was going to become clearer. So today there is a lot of confusion. All the cops talking around here, all my friends, they're confused as to what's happening. There seems to be a breakdown in the communication here as to what people are doing on the ground and where the orders came from. But what Cliff was tweeting here about an hour ago was the fact that from now on, if indeed, especially if this person actually died here, and even if they didn't, the horrific video of this and the use of force here against, again, very, very peaceful people here for the last couple of weeks in Ottawa is going to force Trudeau to use even more force here to try to continue to compel these orders and the Emergency Act. So he's being funneled into a corner here of extreme dictatorship. And I think this is, again, what's going to wake up quite a few more Canadians, because even on the street now and even in the chat, there are people who are saying, hey, go away, truckers, you're done, we're tired of hearing you, and you're infringing upon people's rights here, when in fact the truckers here are really fighting for everyone's rights. And there was hyperbole quite a few weeks ago, and I remember Serbian Mike was in the chat, and he had talked to Viva Frei live, and he said something to the effect of, you know, I said nothing when they came for my neighbor, I said nothing when they came for so-and-so, and by the time they came for me, there was nobody left. And of course he was referring to World War II, and Viva Frei was like, well, you know, that's hyperbole, but it's no longer hyperbole now that we have this Emergency Measures Act in place and that civil liberties have in fact been suspended. And what we're seeing here today too, these people who were cheering on the mask mandates and the people who are cheering on the removal of the truckers, perhaps one day are going to feel the pinch of all that, because Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister here of Canada, just announced today apparently that these measures now of tracking funding and perhaps having the extreme power of seizing bank accounts is no longer temporary. Can you imagine that? Of course, Mr. Trudeau, when he came out, said this was absolutely temporary, but she's saying now that apparently, if you go watch this clip, we should look into the idea of perhaps making this more permanent, because these acts are necessary here for all of our freedoms, of course. So again, once your bank account is frozen, you might reconsider perhaps what the truckers are trying to do here for you today. Joe, any thoughts on that here? You and I have been talking and teaching about crypto for a number of years. This whole debacle here has shown people here, of course, that their money is not safe in the bank. Right now, the trucker convoy has had $10 million stolen, not once, but twice. First on the GoFundMe and second on the Give Send Go. And now they're on this crypto platform, which is now also subject to this new Anti-Terrorism and Laundering Act under the Emergencies Act that was just invoked the other day. So what can regular people around the world figure out here? That their money is not safe, and that the governments have the overreach now if you speak against them, just like in this social credit score system that has been put in place in China. Is this accelerating around the world? And what are you hearing from your audience members also, who are thinking now seriously of perhaps maybe a bank run, taking their money out of the bank and either putting it into crypto or gold and silver? What are they saying, Joe?
Yeah, everyone. I've got quite a few people talking about this right now, and you know, Bitcoin, crypto is the answer, because you are your own bank. The coins you have on that screen, when you look at it, they're yours, and you have access to them, and you can move them whenever you want to whoever you want. There's no, you know, middleman fee like at a bank. You know, especially if you're doing, you know, a wire transfer, $10, $20, $60 if it's international. But again, people are, people back in the day when we create all these laws and things, well, we're creating this law so that we can, Iran's a terrorist nation, so we've got to be able to block their funding, and just like we did in Afghanistan, we took $6 or $7 billion, Joe Biden, through executive order. We're just going to take that money because the Taliban, whatever guys, whoever took over, and we're going to kind of, Biden's basically saying we're going to do what GoFundMe was going to do. We're going to use this money to help pay back some of the families and people that were messed with somehow by this whole upset in Afghanistan in 9/11. What? So again, by executive order. But the average person who would hear a long time ago the laws being passed to do this kind of thing, well, that's to another country. Our country's got to keep us safe, and these terrorists, blah blah blah. Yeah, they should do that. And then it gets used on the actual people. And now people are going, well, hang on a second. They could just stop that? Yeah, and they're saying people who are giving money, they're going to even try to stop them, is what they're saying too. Like, if you're a Trump supporter, we could do the same to you over the border. I'm like, what? So they have access to all the financial system because it's theirs. They created it. We participate in it because we never had any other choice. So, yeah, like Cliff High, a smart contract could be set up on Ethereum to act as the collection and distribution for the truckers. Yeah. Have some way to validate the trucker's ID and issue them a wallet. Yeah, it's basically like an ICO. If you put in one Ethereum, you get 4,200 of these blah 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 tokens. Same kind of a thing. But yeah, you could do that easily with a smart contract. So,
Joe, let me just ask you to maybe make a precision here, because I just typed this in from Janine's account here, but somebody else was tweeting me that the mainstream news is reporting that they've seized crypto wallets. Now, in my understanding, I'm not sure how that's even possible. They can, however, seize your wallet if it's sitting on an exchange or sitting in one of these GoFundMe campaigns. Have you heard of any instances of government actually seizing wallets? Like, how do they do that?
No, now, if you had, for example, a hardware wallet, a Trezor or Nano or whatever, and they raided your house, they could seize your wallet. Yeah, sure. Of course, it's got your password, your seed phrase. Good luck to them doing anything with it. But exactly. Of course, they could
have your password. They're not seizing.
Right. They could still snatch it and hopefully do something with it. But by that time, you could have already bought another one.
Yeah.
Restored your seed phrase. Got access to my stuff again.
Yeah.
F off. So again, beautiful thing about crypto. So yeah, start seizing multiple crypto wallets. I don't know that. I think that's a misinterpretation. They cannot seize a wallet per se. Yeah.
They're trying to scare people out of crypto, of course. They've been doing this for years. They're saying it's for terrorism and child prostitution.
And Biden, what did Biden just say a few days ago? Oh, the FBI, we're urgently creating a group in the FBI that could do this kind of thing.
Right.
That could, go after bad guys and get their crypto. Right. So here's an interesting thing that happened today and may have happened yesterday, but I saw it early this morning. So it was either yesterday or today. In Ukraine. Now, remember when we had Woo Woo Dude on?
Yeah.
First and foremost, let me just back up and just remind people of one of the things that when we were all having that huge talk with the 5 or 6 of us, he had mentioned, I see Trudeau falling down. I think Janine's like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm seeing. And nobody's picking up. These people that always support him, were there for him, are turning their backs. He stays down. He can't get up. Yeah. We're seeing right now, I think, that in the making with his emergency hours packed, the House and whatever Parliament was going to get together. Yeah. Oh, no, never mind. They're sending the guy to Phil. And I think when he needs them the most, oh, guys, help me out. I didn't have the power to do this, but my advisors, which he keeps talking about whenever he goes on TV, Trudeau, my advisors, I spoke with my cabinet members. And again, not that you have this clip up, but I would say, play the clip of Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum bragging about how they implement their cabinet members to these young people like Trudeau. The guy even quoted Trudeau. Yeah. Like Trudeau. And Trudeau's like, I've consulted my cabinet members and I've done, and we're going to do this Emergency Powers Act. It's like, okay. So that's coming out. Everyone's realizing, whoa, wait a minute. So anyways, it looks like he's not going to get help back up from the looks of things. We'll see. So then the other thing was, what would have been talking about? He's been talking about this for a little while. He's like, Ukraine, laundromat money, launder. He goes, look, it's been that way for a long time. That's actually what the elite like Ukraine for. He goes, that's coming undone, and Putin is going to help do that. So, of course, we're gearing up the drums of war. Putin's going to attack today. Oh, just kidding. He's going to attack tomorrow. Oh, just kidding. He didn't do that. Right? And remember what he said. He goes, I saw him playing chess in the corner of a ring where he was just fighting with what was like NATO. Yeah. And he faked him out, kicked him in the leg, sat down, did some chess moves, got back up. They were expecting him to do something else. He roundhoused them to the face, and it was over. And he mentioned, he's doing strategic. And he was referring to tricking them with the Ukraine thing. And so far, that's right on. But, so Ukraine has announced, again, today or yesterday, we will now legally accept, legalize Bitcoin in our country. Out of nowhere. So one of the things Woo Dude had said, he goes, this is a little while back. He told me, he goes, I'm seeing like the elitists, they've got all these ill-gotten gains. I mean, they've got a lot. And they're going to have to, in a hurry, put it somewhere else. And he goes, I'm telling you, I think they're going to put it in the crypto, and we're going to have this thing blast off in like steps, but it's just going to like really go up and like really go up in these stages. And it's them putting their ill-gotten gains into like crypto because they either can't get it or get access to it, or they're going to lose it. Something's going to happen. So here I'm watching Ukraine going, oh my God, they just legalized Bitcoin in Ukraine. Why would they do that? Mm-hmm. So that these elitists can get their ill-gotten old school money into that system where it's more protected, right, and safe to them. So if they do that, they're going to pump the price up on all of us. But so again, remember what Cliff said about
go ahead. Sorry,
Bitcoin in crypto. He goes, Joe's going to have his woo-woo-gasm, or whatever he called it, his woo-gasm or crypto-gasm on or about, again, plus or minus a few days, of the 19th. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, is it down or up? He's like, I don't know. The data's just saying something huge with crypto, right. So it could be the up thing. I don't know.
Let's ask Janine here, because what we saw earlier this week also is that the Deutsche Bank was saying that it was not off the table for them to revalue the price of gold also. So all of this is happening at the same time. Again, as Woo Dude was saying, it was all going to happen at the same time. Gold, silver, crypto, all of the cabal, all of these things. So Janine, how close are we here to perhaps this event here triggering or maybe accelerating this changeover into this new financial world that has been created over the last number of years here, maybe hidden to most of the public members?
Real quick, hasn't gold only been above 1900 for any length of time, like twice or three times? It just did the third time.
Yeah, exactly. That's historic yesterday. Go ahead, Janine.
We're ready to take off, it looks like. I'd say sometime within the month.
Okay.
Like these things are going to gain within the month with that card. So gaining within the month. And it feels like, and I always get this around, especially when we talk about gold and silver, it's already like just a big falsehood what it's sitting at. Mm-hmm. Or it's just been manipulated, right? Yeah. So it's been looked at and manipulated. And I mean, even in the next 3 days, you could say with that 3.
Whoa.
So crazy things going on.
Yeah. Well, Cliff was talking about that for Joe here, and he was talking about me and you probably being really busy in March here with a reconstituted Canada around the Ides of March, so somewhere around 13th, 14th, and 15th of March. We'll get back in that in a second here, but I wanted to also share this with you guys. This is the remote viewing from Dick Allgaier at cryptoviewing.com, and he was on the show last week, and they had this remote viewing. They were remote viewing Ottawa here, and they had these bodies flying around. There was this brawl, a tussle, somebody kind of jumping up to one of these big trucks, and of course in front there he had the RCMP. Let me see if I can bring this comment off the screen here. Hold on. The RCMP in full gear here. We haven't seen this yet in the media. Now, we have the horse scene here today, and I just got a report as we're talking here now that apparently the woman is not dead. So again, very conflicted. It's the fog of Wu, guys, so we're just reporting live what we're hearing. But please bear with us here as we try to navigate this very thick fog of war here today. So
and look at the date, too. At the top.
Yeah.
A near future event.
Yeah. And again, there was the 2-2 in there.
Yeah, 222.
So the Joe's 222 in there as well. But we're in that window now because typically the 222 that we were getting, if we followed the astrology, is in fact on February 20th. where those big alignments are. And we've done share screens on this in the last couple of episodes, brought to you by Julie at Maison Jupiter. But let's go back to Janine on this one. Now that we're seeing the escalation here in Ottawa, people saw all of these people being arrested, mistreated. They saw perhaps people being trampled by horses. Is it possible that some of these truckers who, for the last a number of weeks here, who have been absolutely peaceful, might be a little bit more stressed tomorrow? Is it possible that we're getting closer to perhaps seeing this event here in mainstream news? Let's take another pulse on that with the cards and see what we can glean.
Okay, and then I want to address that leader, that woman leader being picked up by the police the night before in a really weird, peaceful way. That was a bit strange. We better look at that. We better look at these leaders. Why did they get singled out the day before and not in any kind of big drama?
Those two arrests look very fishy to me. They look very friendly, very friendly, of course.
Yeah, so let's have a look.
Yeah, let's take a pulse on this one first at the stream. Hold on. Okay. And see if that's closer to the future here. And again, I remind you that some reports here from Parliament Hill staffers and engineers were being told to shut off the HVAC system here on a moment's notice. And our hospitals, I tweeted about this earlier today too, here in Ottawa, they were notified that they could expect victims with pepper spray symptoms and tear gas symptoms as well, en masse. That's what the alert, how the alert had been sent out to the hospitals today. So go ahead, Janine.
Well, right now, they've backed off, and there's a lot of partying going on, which I shared a live stream that I couldn't believe there was all these people partying, although the police were just standing there taking a lot of verbal abuse, I might add. This was in the past, so we had a rough day, okay? And the reason they backed off, it looks like, is because they've been told to back off because they went too hard or some bad things happened. In particular, 3 bad things. So you mentioned a heart attack. We saw some tramples. That could be in the 3 right there, but there could be things we don't know about yet. We know that they were smashing. They smashed a couple windows and, to get into the trucks, which was interesting. And they, so they're doing a lot of things that could literally be deemed illegal, especially since the whole situation is illegal. So anyway, it gets worse tomorrow. So Jean-Claude, you back with us? It's going to get worse.
How does that card say tomorrow? Like, how do you get tomorrow out of that one? I'm just curious.
That's the near future. So this was
the way she places her cards when she does the draw.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the right now were these 3. Okay, so things have chilled out and
okay.
People are partying. And that could have something to do with the white hats too, because this is my white hats part. So they might have even somehow stepped in a little and went, okay, we got to chill this out. People are getting hurt. I don't know, because I think they're in the background of this whole thing. Don't forget the whole thing's been like we've heard about this trucker convoy in movies, videos, and cartoons.
The Simpsons, for God's sakes. Yeah, once again.
They knew about this. They knew about this. Okay. I believe the truckers took it themselves and made it into a heartfelt thing. I think there's so much more going on than we haven't a clue. It's literally the fog of war. We got good and bad players duking it out right in front of us in Ottawa, like right there, you guys. Well, everywhere, but that in particular. So it's going to get worse tomorrow. Tomorrow, I feel like they might go after the literal truckers now. So they're going to maybe leave the people alone because that got them into lots of trouble. So that got them into this situation. This is the near future. That feels like now they're going to go after the truckers more specifically. So maybe that's trying to tow them out of there. We saw a bunch of tow trucks coming in. One of the tow trucks, we know, I saw one video where a tow truck driver parked his truck and was in cahoots with the truckers. But how many of them won't do that, maybe?
Right.
Like, are they going to start pulling the trucks out? Yeah, it looks like it'll get a little worse tomorrow here, looking at this card to the 5. But this is interesting because it's temporary setbacks is the advice to tell everybody is tell them this is temporary. It's interesting because I don't really get, I still get the truckers winning. Like the outcome cards are the truckers are going to win. The big picture is they're going to win this.
Okay, so let me first give you an update, and then I'll ask you a question, Janine. And the question is going to be, tomorrow, are the Canadian supporters of this convoy going to come to Ottawa? So you can start doing a poll on that. And in the meantime, guys, when I drove in this morning, there were cops all along the highway. Let's see if I can show you this now. They were escorting a bunch of tow trucks from outside of this jurisdiction into Ottawa, because we knew that the Ottawa tow truck companies did not want anything to do with removing any of the trucks. Now, when I started reporting here earlier today, right at this corner in front of the Chateau Laurier, Sussex, and Rideau, there was a big confrontation there between the protesters and the cops, and there were a bunch of big rigs parked there. Now, the cops have removed those people. They've pushed that line back to the Senate building now, where I'm trying to get that feed up for you guys here, but we don't have a lot of bandwidth. But in the meantime, the trucks here have been removed one by one. There's almost none left there, if you guys can see there. So that's the update on the trucker situation, but they're further down on Parliament Hill and on Wellington Street. So I'll be checking that tomorrow morning and seeing if I can give you some live footage from the ground there as well, because I don't have a full vantage point of all of that here because of that Senate building. At any rate, Janine, today, what I saw when I got here, there was very few supporters of the protest, simply because this whole area has been locked down. There's 100 checkpoints and people can't get in if they don't have the exemption. Will they be forcing en masse tomorrow their presence here on Parliament Hill?
There'll be a lot more tomorrow. We've got strength, and I think all of the footage actually emboldened people, believe it or not. Like those brave partiers on the hill right now.
Yeah,
those guys are crazy brave. I'm so impressed, but kind of worried about. I've been sending them ravens and smudging all day long, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's going to be more, and they're holding the peaceful line. You're not going to see any of them doing this violence. The only people recorded to do violence is, no matter what they say, you guys, is going to be the forces they're using against these freedom-loving people. That's what's going to take down this government, is what I figure.
Yeah. Yeah. I was expecting, first of all, I didn't sleep all night, guys. My voice, somebody's mentioning in the chat, my voice is a little bit rogue right now. Yes, I didn't sleep all night. There's these weird energies, weird spirit world, just like rambling at me. I wasn't even sure if I could make it downtown here. And again, it's on the good grace of some police officers that opened barricades for me to go where I am today, because otherwise I would not have made it. And I was surprised that I did, actually, because I did receive an email from the hotel this morning saying, hey, yes, your room is reserved, but you might not get here because all the roads are closed, even though we're not technically in the cordoned off area. So that's one thing. But last night I had all of these weird etheric kind of energies, like I couldn't make it out, but it was very, very busy, very noisy. I didn't sleep all night, and I was worried about coming here today and having to see things that maybe as a Canadian I would have trouble digesting. And some of those video clips and what I've seen here today with my own eyes were very, very hard to see. And it saddens me to know that we're here now. Like, I never thought in my life, one, that I would be caught in the epicenter of this worldwide spiritual war, but two, that Canada would go this far down the road of totalitarianism and socialism and dictatorship. It's absolutely incredible. What I'm going to ask Julie, if she can hear me from the studio, is to send Joe by text that clip of the live streamers of people who are just behind here on the Senate building. For some reason, our connection here is not strong enough to make it go through my laptop. So hopefully, Joe, if you get a look at your phone right now and see if you can find a link to that and then add it to the screen from your end, we might be able to show people right now the party that's happening behind the Senate building here. I was seeing it just before we went live. So there was, in fact, quite a few people there intermingling with cops and having a good old time. And of course, that's not being portrayed by mainstream here. So I'm going to try to bring that up for you guys. So while we wait for that, Janine, What else from today? Also, I know you haven't slept either. You and I haven't slept all week, actually, with all of this. We're doing our best to report as much as we can here and be out here for everyone. What's your gut feeling here today, moving into this weekend? What can you tell the audience members here who, just like you and I, are very worried about Canada right now? And I heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's time to move out of Canada right now." My gut feeling is no. We need you guys to rebuild the new, and we're very close here to rebuilding the new. But what would you say to the audience members here as we try to set up this other? Wow. Okay.
I was pulling these as we were talking here, and I did turn into just a message. So, off-worlder, loving other entities, right? So that's my off-worlder card, and loving, embracing the human race. So we're being watched over. We're being watched over because we're like literally right in the battle here, and we're being like, it's like they're all around Ottawa is what I'm getting. Okay, so they're all around. They're waiting. They can't move in because they're karmically, because this card was underneath. So karmically, that's karmic law, or it can be literal law. But because we're talking about off-worlders, we're probably talking karmic law, says they can't interfere, but they can support and send energy. So for everybody who's there, try absorbing that loving energy, right? Like try, like, just know that you're being held by these off-worlders that are, these are of the good variety, because I know there's bad ones too. Okay, because there's the rising the vibration there is exactly what's going to help. Okay, because all of this angst today lowered the vibration, and we need to keep it higher. So that partying going on, that's good. It has to be loving, rising vibration. So help the people tomorrow for what they're facing.
Right. So here I have on the screen now, this is the live feed. And what I'm saying is that is right behind this building here, exactly where I cannot see, of course. I have the best view of everything, the staging area, Parliament Hill, but I cannot see just below that building. And look, again, that's a lot of people there. And you're not seeing that here. What mainstream media was reporting a couple of hours ago was this arrest station. I don't know if you guys are going to see this here with my laptop. But right down there, the mainstream media were let in to film these people who were supposedly arrested and put into this bus. And let me see, the bus is still there. So they haven't brought them anywhere to be protest. And as far as I know, maybe while I'm doing the stream, they've released everybody there. And there's very few police there, so I don't know what's going on there. And yet, look at this crowd now.
Yeah, they did release them, I get.
The mainstream media was reporting that all of these people had been arrested a couple of hours ago, and yet here they are, all of them right now. This is a live feed, again, just below this building here behind me. Wow. Joe, thank you for being able to put that through to show to the audience. We'll leave that there for a minute here and just see. But I'm hearing they could be fireworks, or they could be machine gun firing. I don't know right now. So I'm going to pay attention to that as we continue the screen here. Joe, you guys are having this convoy in the United States. I think it just started today, also from California, and they're going to be driving into DC. Do you think right now, judging by your mainstream media and by social media right now in the United States, that you're going to have as much effect here as perhaps Canada? How do you see the Canadian movement here encouraging and emboldening the Americans also to fight for freedom?
Yeah, I think that, like we said in the very beginning, you know, what Canada has started is gone worldwide.
Hold on, Joe, for a sec. Can you put that screen back up? I want to let that play here because, again, I'm hearing noise here from my hotel room, and I want to.
It may have. I'm not sure if it's still live because I'm able to fast forward to the very end, and it's the same time.
So maybe they just stopped live streaming because
I don't think it's because they're like everyone was walking away at the end, and that's it.
Walking away?
Streamed live 115 minutes ago.
The beginning of the stream, yes, because it was streaming just before we went. Just bring it back up and show me what you have there. Because I'm going to see if I can correlate that to what I'm seeing here with my eyes and where those people are moving.
Yeah, and I think this is way older. Let's see.
They were live just before we went live because I had it on our slide deck here, but for some reason I couldn't run it. Let's see what we have at the stream.
Like you see the timer in a few seconds, it's going to quit.
So whoever is in the camera has moved away, but that group is still there. You can see at the end there. Okay. And again, that's right behind my vantage point, and I'm hearing a lot of noise right now. So those people are still there. Oh, I have another link. Somebody else is giving me another link. Let me see if I can bring this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hearing fireworks. These are now fireworks, but I'm not sure where they're coming from. That's a lot of fireworks. Okay, hold on. This is not the live stream. Okay, hold on a second. So, Joe, keep going on the story in America. I'm just going to mute my mic, and I'm going to try to set up this other stream here, okay? Keep going, Joe.
All right. Yeah, so we've got a lot of movements around the world with truckers and, you know, farmers and tractors and all kinds of different kind of people, but mostly truckers and farmers. And it's just one thing after another. If people are watching Canada and going, you know what, we got the same problems, we got the same issues, we're going to do the same thing. You know, a little different in America because we had an election recently, November of 2020, and people are starting to rig again. All of the things that are happening are making people think about more than just what is happening right now. And they're going, yeah, how did that person really get into power? All these people making these bad decisions like Trudeau, how did that guy get into power? Were they using the same voting machines up there? They did, you know, and they're going, huh? You know, I was talking to my mom today. Actually, we went out for breakfast, and she's like, you know, the people locally have to get involved and, you know, write your Congress member and tell them you don't want. I'm like, Mom, we're using voting machines. Well, I don't understand how these communists and socialists keep getting elected. I said, Mom, we're using voting machines. They're programmed to do certain things a certain way. You know, they're hardware. So, you know where I'm going with this. So she's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess, you know, so it's like, you're not voting your way out of this with that same machine. So
it's the very same machine they use here.
Yeah. Okay. I figured it was. And so forget the machine. We've got truckers and people on the ground demanding changes.
Yeah. And
these people who are in power, however they got there, are having to deal with it. So because we don't think they quite got to power like they should have, they're the socialist communists. So these are the ones who are making these draconian decisions, like the Klaus Schwab example. We're very proud of young prime ministers like Trudeau, who is surrounded by our cabinet members who, and I used to always talk about this years ago, so long ago. I say, you know, back in the old days, the kings and queens, right? These monarchs, you had the king. But I said, do you think the king was this all-seeing, all-knowing person? No, he had to have his advisors. Here's my war advisor. Here's my whatever advisor. They had all these financial advisor. He had all these advisors. So they tell him, they're the smart ones, right? Telling the king what to do. And the king comes out and says, okay, here's what I've decided. It was them running the show. And these people amongst themselves could say, you know what? We can manipulate the king. This guy's a moron. He's a jackass. What do you guys want to do? Right? So they could do this. Next thing you know, you got all this turmoil all over the place. It's the same thing now. Our governments, these so-called top people, our prime ministers, our president, they have these damn advisors. And we know for a fact Trudeau's advisors are from Klaus Schwab. He's bragged about it. And speaking of somebody who's a jackass and doesn't know anything, can't hold a sentence together, can't even use words you would expect any politician to use, Trudeau. And I'm trying to think, there was one thing that was hilarious. It wasn't the LGBTQ thing. He couldn't even say that. It was something else. It was a very common thing. This was maybe a year or two ago. I don't know if you remember, but he was trying to say something and he couldn't even get the words out. And it was like something pathetic that any politician should have known the word. And, you know, people laughed at him for them. So, but again, prime example, the guy knows absolutely nothing. He's not even a real politician, you know, as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't know anything. He can't run anything. You know, he couldn't run a donut shop, and much less the government. So he's got all his advisors.
He's a drama teacher. Like,
that's what I was saying.
He's a drama teacher. Like, oh my God, Janine, let's pull in some cards here. Are we going to see perhaps a big uprising in the United States following this as well, in this convoy that's leading to Washington, D.C.? Will they get to do that, or are we going to see here, as Cliff was saying, perhaps a resolution very quickly here because of what's happening out in Ottawa and how that can translate to the rest of the planet here very quickly.
Well, so they're just all waiting to go. There's a lot of people getting on board with the convoy. Okay, so it's not completely finalized who's going, who's not going, because it looks like there's still some negotiating or people deciding, are they going, are they not going? And we've got this 7. It's going to be a different flavor slightly. We're going to have their own sort of agendas that are maybe slightly different. I don't know what their demands will be in DC, similar probably to what ours are, but not exactly, because the United States is a different country than ours. So there's still some differences here, because this card says it'll be similar, but there's going to be differences. There'll be stressful moments in it, just like we're having here. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. But they're also going to pull off a great victory of their own. A whole different, maybe so like with different things in the end, but nonetheless for them a victory. So
wow. Janine, let's fast forward here to the Ides of March and one of those last cryptic messages here that we got from our friend Cliff High, saying that perhaps we would be looking at a reconstituted Canada. Let's take a pulse on that and see if in fact that much of a change here is in the cards for Canada.
Yes, that's a definite yes.
Dude, you had the same cards last night or the night before. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. And for anybody wondering, that light back there, I'm burning a candle that's all essential oils for protection. Yeah. So it's for everybody watching's protection of your freedoms and rights and bank accounts if you're a Canadian right now. Mm-hmm. And just for the truckers' protection and the protection of everybody that's in Ottawa, like in line of fire here. Wow. Just send it out. Like all day I've been working my personal magic.
So all of those big changes, again, just going back to what Cliff was telling me the other day, something to the effect that in the next 5 years, we will see more change than in the last 1,000 years. So can you imagine the role that we were all going to be taking here into reforming this new earth? Absolutely amazing. And a big thank you to all of you in the live chat supporting this and sending your energy out here for the protection of the truckers, the convoy, and the people supporting them here. A lot of those guys are going hungry right now and freezing because the food and the fuel has been stopped because of this huge red zone area here. Let me bring up this for the audience here, members. As I'm here too, I'm going to try to upload more of these smaller snippet videos, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes here, as I see things unfold here during the day. So if you haven't seen these last couple of videos I put out today, please just go subscribe here to BeyondMystic.net and follow along with me here in these last live streams. And some of them are pre-recorded here because everything's happening really fast, and I'm just like between phone calls and stuff, going outside trying to film stuff and bringing it back to you here. So I'll be doing that here for the next couple of days, or as long as I can, actually, here as we wait perhaps for February 19th for that day where we're supposed to get a little bit more clarity on what is to come. Joe, any last words of wisdom?
Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta run, but I'm gonna leave two things here on the table. Okay. So someone had sent this to Woo Dude. I think he sent it to me. And I don't know what years of the $100 bill this applied to, whether it's the newest ones or the last ones before the newest $100 bill came out. But there's a little tiny clock on the building on the back of it of the $100 bill. And whatever one it is, whether it's the new one or the old one, the time is 2:22. That's interesting. The other day, a few days ago, Woo Dude was called me and goes, Spirit was joking with me and I didn't know what the hell they were saying, and then it finally hit me. He goes, they kept saying this to me. They said, do you know what day of the week the 22nd is? And, he's like, why does that matter? He's like, they're like, well, go look at it. He's like, well, Tuesday. What the hell does that mean? And they're like, say it again. Tuesday. So the 22nd is Tuesday. Interesting. This is just weird stuff that you just can't make up, you know. So yeah, the 19th is tomorrow. We've got 20, you know, a couple more days. You're going to be there. So it'll be very interesting to honestly see how this goes. But on that note, I got to run.
Got to run. So, folks, please do remember to go and subscribe here to JasonIp42 on YouTube. And you can also find him on his Patreon at patreon.com/JasonIp4. Joe, thank you so much for being on the show. And if you want to come back here in the next couple of days, even for a little spot, just let me know.
Yeah.
Your text and you can jump in at any time. Thank you so much, Joe. Have a good night, man. I love you.
Take care, guys. See you later, Janine.
So Janine, for you, I guess, last words of wisdom for the audience here as we await, maybe with bated breath, to see what is going to transpire tomorrow. Let's hold a line energetically for everyone here, but for everyone watching the show also. But let's see what the cards can give us in terms of inspiration here for the next 24 to 48 hours. Hey, hold on a second, Janine. Also, folks, I just put out a pay-per-view yesterday with Jim Willie, so it's available now also for the Insider Access Pass members. And the subtitle for this episode is Justin Trudeau, the downfall of the cabal. So go check out this episode. Jim was absolutely off the hook. So go check it out. And tomorrow, if things go well, I will be posting the last pay-per-view I just recorded with Janine. And this is Janine Investigates the Starseed Envoy program. Julie is joining us on that episode. Fabulous episode. So if I have time, I'm going to be crunching that and putting back up on the Insider Access Pass and also on the pay-per-view probably tomorrow or at the very least on Sunday. So stay tuned for that episode. Absolutely fascinating stuff. Okay, so Janine, back to you.
So how did you pose the question?
Whatever universe wants to let us know here in terms of holding the frequency high for the next 24 to 48 hours or anything else it needs us to know here to better navigate what's coming up. Wow.
Well, we're sitting right here in the dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
Okay. The good news through, like, it's scary. See this little lobster? The lobster is representing a human ego because we need our egos. We need the shell, just like a lobster needs its shell. Okay. When it comes out of its shell, it's all tender and it'll shrivel up and die. So it needs the shell. We need our ego selves. And we're entering a journey. So the lobster's just about to take a journey into the unknown unconscious. So the universe knows, but we don't know. Okay, our ego human selves don't know what's coming, but the universe knows. Okay, so this lobster is being very brave to come out of its element of water and go through this path, through the gateway here into our unconscious knowing and discover what we already know, but our ego doesn't know it yet. That's another way to read this moon card. So it's a very eerie, kind of scary place, which it sounds like you've been feeling all the night before and today. Yeah. We're seeing you're in this weird place. I think a lot of people are in this weird place. Okay, here's a card surrounding. We're surrounded by friends and energy from people who love us, Canadians, and love everybody that's in Ottawa. They're sending all of this love. So the atmosphere is of love and friendship. So what tried to rip everybody apart actually brought everybody together. So remember that when you're in that dark night of the soul and you're going on your big journey, because the universe knows what's coming, but we don't literally, right? So it's scary. We're going into this dark tunnel sort of, right? Okay. And this is what we need to do while we're in there. Have really good boundaries, put our big sword up, that she's got the sword of truth and honesty. So we know that truth and the fact that this has been a peaceful convoy. We've gone into it with heart. We know that like the truckers are absolutely coming from a good place. Regardless what some of their leaders might be up to, or like they're going to find dirt on everybody because they're looking like who knows, right? Regardless, the actual truckers who are there participating are beautiful souls and brave and good to put this. And they like some of them even said in interviews, they can't not do this because it's their whole life going forward is at stake, as well as all Canadians and actually in the world. Okay, so she goes in with bravery and knows that her truth will show her through. So that's your only light right now, is your sword of truth. Okay, even in the, and you have to trust in the universe. If you do get rounded up tomorrow, or a trucker gets rounded up, or some people we know get rounded up, you have to know that the universe, you have to be with your soul self there, that you'll be looked after. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, so we've only got a few more days, you guys, and it's also telling us, giving a nod to, there's way more going on that you don't see, to the positive. So try not to buy into the whole drama of how awful it all is. Try to see the big picture, like you're in a war, so you're going to have some bad days, and see the big picture, that the universe, we got this, like we're part of the universe, and it's not going to let down the humans.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone, for supporting us here tonight. Of course, if you want to support us and continuing to put out all of this content here, you can do so with the Insider Access Pass here, that gives you access to all of our pay-per-view episodes. And as of late, also, we have the new Astro Woo Finance for the month of February that's on sale now. This is the new coupon code SAVE33. We'll give you 33% off of that last episode. Janine, Julie, and I are prepping here for the next one, and we're also prepping this huge slide deck here for the next Beyond Crypto Woo. So we're going to be tracking crypto here for the month of March in this episode, so stay tuned for that. And if you're interested in the Panic to Own crypto course, it's available now also on pay-per-view. If you've been watching the news and worried about your finances and the safety of your finances inside the banking system, please do go check that out. This is the course that enables you to go from zero to having your own wallet and your exchange set up safely, and to purchase your first crypto currencies. And we also have a top pick wallet in there for you as well at no extra charge. So please do go check that out. In the meantime, please remember to like, share, and subscribe here on my Beyond Mystic channel to stay tuned to all of these next couple of updates for you guys live from Parliament Hill. And also, please go and subscribe to Julie at Maison Jupiter on YouTube. And you can also find her at maisonjupiter.com. There, if you use the Beyond Mystic coupon code, you can get your personalized birth chart done, so that you can follow all of the astrology here on all of our content. And you can also book a tarot reading with her amazing sister Sophie. Again, they're using the coupon code Beyond Mystic. Will give you a 10% off. And last but not least, you can find Janine, of course, at Tarot by Janine here on YouTube, and also at Ascending Ravens. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here tonight. Merci beaucoup, Janine, for being here again and helping me and supporting me and saging from over there all the way here to Ottawa. For all of us here, we all absolutely need it, and we are immensely in your debt, Janine, for all of the work you're doing for us. So I'm very grateful for you being in my life and being part of this absolutely historic event. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow a couple of times during the day. Take care, Janine. I love you. Have a good night.
Love you too. Au revoir.
Au revoir.